It's 8:30 in the morning, and I just moved the cows, gave them 2 of 14 sections on this row. So the row's about 1,000 feet wide. So that's like 50 by 150, something like that. Anyway, I come out here this morning and I look at the grass that they've eaten, and it looks like they've missed a lot of grass, right? The other thing I'm noticing is that the manure seems to be a lot softer than it was before. I'm just kind of looking at random samples, and I see 1 or 2 that are a little bit too high, but the rest are well within parameters. So there's 3. It's too high. That's another one that's too high. So I could talk about Bayes' theorem and probabilities and stuff like that, but I'm just satisfied if like 75% look good, then it's probably okay. I'm going to walk down to the trough. But you can see that they're really not eating the grass like they were in that first section, suggesting that the protein supplement is maybe substituting their food, or maybe there's just more grass here than I thought, right? That's always a possibility. I underestimated the amount of grass. So let's go take a look if they ate it all or not. I didn't bring bags out here. We have a good possibility of rain today. Oh, it's licked clean. Yeah, they looked that clean. Anyway, we have a good possibility of rain today. Definitely going to get rain tomorrow. Almost definitely. There's a small chance we won't get rain, but as you can see, the clouds are dark. There's wind blowing from the south. Temperature's a little bit cooler. Humidity's a little bit higher. Right. These are all signs to me that we're going to get rain soon. Yeah, the age-old question, like, oh my goodness, I feel like they've completely missed this spot. Like, there's really good grass here that they just completely missed. Like, I thought I had them in pretty tight rows. I expecting them to overgraze a little bit. But when I see stuff like this, it means they're not eating grass. So I think what I'm going to do is just ration the protein supplement. Maybe 1 bag a day. I mean, I'm complaining that I have too much grass. Let's put it that way. There's no reason for me to complain. There's literally no reason for me to complain whatsoever. I have them here on tight rows. It looks like if I brought the sheep in, there'd still be plenty of grass. So, with this 50-foot row and doing 2 rows a week, and I have half a mile, 2,560 feet. That's a 25-week rotation, 25 and a half weeks. And that puts me out 6 months, right? So if I keep this pace up at this current pace, I will be back here in April, right? That's how slow this rotation is. So doing something like taking a half or even 2/3 of my field and saying I'm not going to graze there at all this year. Well, even if I just kept this rotation going like this, that would be the net effect. Is 6 months, most of the field would be untouched, right? And that's plenty of stockpile. So the reason why I bring this up, last night we sat down with the food trailer and we went over the expenses and the income, and we made a little bit of money. I promised to do profit sharing with my son, and so he's very interested in the expenses and the income and stuff like that. And I was kind of surprised. I asked him, I said, hey, you have any ideas on how we can get more customers coming? He's like, nope. And I was like, oof, hoping there's some kind of semblance of understanding that the more customers you get, the more money you make, and maybe you'd at least put some thought to making more money, but At the same token, I kind of understand. We don't plan on keeping that trailer open. Once we hit December, if the weather gets cold, we're shutting it down. And if it rains really heavy, we're probably not going to run the trailer. So all that to say that there's really not a lot of reasons to invest very much in the trailer and to make it a better business. Or rather, the investment that we're doing is we're building a restaurant, right? So I'm going to put a lot of money down to build that. But when it comes to the cattle, and by cattle I include sheep. When it comes to animals, like grazing animals like this, my wife complains every time I buy something. Things aren't cheap. You know what I mean? I go and I buy 40 bags of feed, $14 a bag, and they give a little discount or whatever. And that's a fair chunk of change. You know what I mean? That's like $640, right? And my wife is obviously very sensitive to the expenses of the farm operation. The key of whether or not I make it is, can I grow enough grass for free that I can beat the market, right? So all of my neighbors around me that are doing roughly the same thing. They're probably not rotating like I am, but they're basically buying cows, or they have cows and they feed them mostly grass, and then they feed them hay through the winter if they winter them at all. They're trying to make money, and the source of the equation, the important thing that makes them more money is how productive their land is, right? How much grass do they actually grow, right? The more grass they grow, the more money they get in their pockets. And if they don't grow enough grass at some point, they're not making any money at all. They're just wasting their time. And with my formula, one of the things I have to account for is the labor involved in moving the cattle, twice daily or whatever, and processing and moving things around and doing things like that, right? So that's the other cost that I have, especially moving them, because other farmers aren't doing that. So they might be willing to spend their money on feed or on more land, whereas I don't really have that option. I have to make more money by moving them around. But anyway, my point is that the grass is the key, right? I sell cattle, I sell sheep. Hopefully I'll sell dogs one day, trained guardian sheep dogs, livestock guardian dogs. But the key is the grass, right? If I grow lots of grass, then I win. If I can't grow grass, then I need to get out of the business. I need to go do something else, right? And that's the key, right? And that was kind of the breakthrough. I think it was Greg Judy is the one that he said he woke up, he read an article and he realized that he's a grass farmer. The more grass he grows, the more money he makes, right? And that was kind of the beginning of the transition from conventional ranching to rotational grazing, right? And then if you say, well, how do I grow more grass? And then you say, well, the grass grows in the soil and you need better soil. And how do you get better soil? And the answer is, if you wage chemical warfare by dumping nitrates and various toxic chemicals into the soil designed to kill life and kill animals and kill insects, and if that's how you increase your fertility, well, then that's another expense, and then you're connected to the chemical company and the distribution network of the United States, hoping that you can get your chemicals for chemical warfare cheaply, right? And if you can get them cheaply, well, your neighbor's getting them cheaply too, so you really don't have an advantage. And when you both go to the market to sell your cattle, you're going to get the same price. You're not going to get a better price because you used more or less chemicals, right? So the discriminating factor there, even there, is like, how can I grow more grass with less chemicals, or even better with no chemicals, right? Because we know that there's benefits to grass grown without chemicals, without tilling, without chemicals. Anyway, but and so the soil becomes super important. So you start studying like how does soil work? How do I create soil from dirt? How do I maintain soil? How do I improve the soil, right? And so that's why rotational grazing is kind of the answer to everything. But the bottom line is this, and Gabe Brown said this recently, but every successful farmer will tell you this, is you have to make money. You have to bring in more money than you're spending. It has to be worth your time, right? And so in my case, like as a programmer, as a software engineer, possibly I could probably find, jobs that make 6 figures, out there, and I'd work my butt off, and I'd be sitting in a chair all day and staring at a screen and communicating via email. You know what I mean? I could do that. I can make, 6 figures. The question is, can I make 6 figures by rotating the cattle? And again, it comes down to the grass, And so when I look at this row and I say they missed the grass, and I'm kind of kicking myself for misestimating or underestimating how much grass there was, right? That's not a complaint. That's really not a complaint, right? And I shouldn't complain that I messed up, I was kind of worried I was overgrazing, and now I'm undergrazing, and now it's kind of like, what am I complaining about? There's really no reason to complain at all, So anyway, I have long-term strategies with these cattle. I have short-term strategies. I have sheep. You can see the sheep on the horizon there, just barely on the horizon. You might see some little dots. Red wants to say hi. She's playing cool. She's like, I want to say hi. You want to say hi? Come here. You can say hi. It's okay. I don't have anything for you, but I'll let you say hi. Yeah. I need to do cattle cubes again. Anyway, life is good. Life is great. Life is awesome. I can't wait to take these calves to the market, get a fat paycheck, and show my wife and go over like the annual expenses and what I spent this year and last year and the previous year and what we made, and I can't wait to show her a profit. I can't really do that yet, but hopefully this year will be the year that we're making money. And then as the sheep take off, as the sheep business starts to take off, I imagine we'll make even more money. And I'm expecting the sheep to be the engine, that kind of drives everything else. It makes it all worth it. And I was thinking about this last night too. I saw just the video title of somebody's video, and they said that they're doing honey. They make an obscene amount of honey every year. And they do like rabbits and chickens and stuff like that. But there's like, umpteen million businesses you can do on the land that are natural, that improve the environment, that produce healthy products that I think are going to be the key to solving today's illnesses, right? I think that we've poisoned ourselves unknowingly, right? There might have been some people that knew what they're doing, and if there are, they deserve to be punished for their crimes against humanity. But unknowingly, we poisoned ourselves, I believe. And when we get back to the farm, and when we start eating farm products again, and when we get rid of the middleman who is adulterating those products in the name of marketability, right? So they take your farm products and they mutilate it and they change it, and they put chemicals and stuff in there, and then they call it, healthy and made organic or whatever they call it. But when we get back to cooking our own food from products that we buy direct from the farmer, from the neighboring farm, and if the farmers are using regenerational techniques to actually build the soil, rather than just make a profit at all costs, who cares what the ground looks like when I die? You know what I mean? I think that's going to be the solution to America's health problems. I'm super excited. I'll just be a little bit political here. Allow me to be political from time to time. One of the things Trump has done, and one of the reasons why he's so popular, and I like him a lot, and if you don't like him, you can go pound sand. You know what I mean? You're probably a terrible person on the outside and on the inside if you don't like Trump at this point, right? And I say that objectively. He's organized a coalition, a political coalition of forces that have been underrepresented in our political system for a long time. And RFK Jr. represents a major segment of the political voice that has been squashed for the past 50 to 100 years, right? If he can do half of what he said he'd do when Trump gets elected, right? If he could rein in the FDA and the USDA, if he can make it easy for people to buy farm products direct from the farmer the way God meant it to be, right? That will be amazing, right? And for that reason alone, I'd vote for Trump even if he was Hitler or Stalin or whatever, you know. If we can just get our food back, that would be a wonderful godsend, right? And that's just one of the many underrepresented voices in American politics. Voices that represent the majority opinion, but have been intentionally squashed by the uniparty. And what I mean by the uniparty is Republicans and Democrats alike, right? There's lots of voices like that out there, and Trump is representing them. Trump is the true, like, if you don't like the direction the country is going on the whole, if you don't like the government, Trump is your guy, right? And that's why, you know, I strongly encourage you to get out there and vote. I don't know what your political or religious persuasions it is, kind of doesn't matter. Just vote for Trump just to mess up the system and get a reset going. You know what I mean? We don't need the same politics that we've had for the same 50 years, for the past 50 years. We don't need the same two parties playing musical chairs but doing nothing about the crises that America's facing, the real life crises, right? We need somebody who's going to go in there and throw a wrench in the gears, right? That's what we need. And that's what Trump represents. And that's why I think that people are so excited about him, and why, if you don't support him, I consider you a horrible person. Because look at yourself. Like, why do you hate Trump? Why do you hate Trump supporters? Do you hate them because they want to change the system? Do you hate them because they want to try something new? Do you hate them because they've been disaffected by the current political system? Those are obscenely stupid reasons to hate people, right? You know, and whatever lies you've been told about Trump, and you can go watch the various interviews he's done, like on Joe Rogan and different things like that, right? You can go watch him, what he actually is like as a person, right? But Trump isn't the only person. That's the thing. He's a movement. There's other people that support Trump, other people that want to change the system and want to change the standard and want to bring in a new way of doing things. You know what I mean? And that's why you vote for Trump, is not because of Trump himself, because ultimately the president is just a guy, right? It's all these other people who are supporting Trump and getting behind him, the people that Trump's going to put in charge and give them a voice and give them power, right? That's what we need to think about, right? And that, you know, go back to the 80s. Why did people vote for Reagan like they did? You know, go back earlier. Why did they vote for Nixon, right? Why are they so insanely popular? It's because they said, hey, we're not going to do things the way it's been done. We're going to try something new. You know, we're going to go a different direction, right? And that's what I think we need to do. So in your own food, in your own groceries, think about what you're buying and putting in your belly. Think about what is actually in that food, right? The ingredients they put in, the packaging itself, people are saying that the plastics contain chemicals that affect your body chemistry, right? I mean, wow. If that's true, then packaged products, you can't, you know, we need to go back to wrapping our meat in paper. You know what I mean? or you know, just getting the cut of meat ourselves, you know, and then cutting it at home where we don't need packaging. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's just my thought. You know, make sure to vote this year. I know that it's been a very contentious election. I know that people are at each other's throats, okay? I don't advocate for hurting people over politics. If you disagree with me, I'm perfectly fine with that. You can disagree with me all you want. Even though you're wrong, even though I don't like you, I don't want to hurt you. You know what I mean? I think we need to bring that back to American politics too. The freedom to disagree with each other, the freedom to call each other idiots and retarded, you know, the freedom to say that your position is stupid. Let's get back to that, you know, where we talk about it rather than shooting each other over it. Guys, have a great day. Take care and bye-bye.